A very good afternoon to all present here. My name is Nikita, and in today's video, I'll be discussing the landmark judgment delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court relating to child pornography titled as Just Rights for Children Alliance versus Harish. Now, this judgment was delivered on 23rd of September 2024 by a division bench comprising of the then Honorable Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, and Honorable Mr. Justice J.B. Pardiwala. This judgment dealt with a very important issue, which was whether mere viewing, possessing, or storing of any child pornographic material is punishable under the provisions of Protection of Children from the Sexual Offences Act 2012, hereinafter referred to as the POCSO Act 2012. There were divergent views expressed by the different high courts across the country as regards the ingredients necessary to constitute an offence under Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012 and Section 67B of the Information Technology Act 2000, hereinafter referred to as the IT Act of 2000. So, this decision brings a closure to a long-standing split among the various high courts regarding the earlier mentioned issue. Now let us discuss the case in detail. So, firstly I'll be discussing the facts of the case. So, on 29th of January 2020, an FIR came to be registered against the respondent number 1 at the All Women's Police Station, Ambattur, Chennai for the offences punishable under Section 67B of the IT Act and under Section 14, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act 2012. So, during the course of investigation, the mobile phone which belonged to the respondent number 1, it was seized and it was sent to Forensic Science Laboratory for analysis. The respondent number 1, on being questioned during the course of investigation, he did admit the fact that he used to regularly view pornography while he was in college. Moving on, as per the Computer Forensic Science Analysis Report dated 22nd of August 2020, it was found that the mobile phone of the respondent number 1 did contain 2 video files which related to child pornography, and it depicted 2 underage boys who were involved in a sexual activity with an adult woman. The Computer Forensic Analysis Report further stated that more than 100 other pornographic video files were downloaded and they were stored in the said mobile phone. Upon completion of investigation, charge sheet was filed against the respondent number 1 for the offences punishable under Sections 67B of the IT Act and Section 15, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act respectively. What we need to note is that although originally the FIR was registered for the offence punishable under Section 14, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act, but ultimately the charge sheet was filed under Section 15, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act. The respondent number 1 thereafter went before the Honorable High Court of Madras by way of a quashing petition for the purpose of getting the charge sheet and the criminal proceedings which are arising therefrom to be quashed. The Honorable High Court quashed the criminal proceedings essentially on 2 grounds. Firstly, the Honorable High Court was of the view that in order to constitute an offence under Section 14, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act, a child must have been used by the accused person for pornographic purposes. It observed that although the 2 videos depicting children who were engaged in a sexual activity was found to have been downloaded and stored in the mobile phone which belonged to the respondent number 1, and assuming that the accused had watched the same, yet the same would not constitute an offence under Section 14, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act 2012. The Honorable High Court held that in order to constitute an offence under Section 67B of the IT Act, the person accused must have published, transmitted the material which depicted the children in sexually explicit act or conduct. It held that although the respondent number 1 had admitted the fact that he was addicted to watching pornography, yet mere watching or downloading of child pornography without any transmission or publication of the same does not fall within the purview of Section 67B of the IT Act 2000. The matter soon reached before the Honorable Supreme Court, and now let us see the submissions before the Honorable Supreme Court. The appellant contended that the interpretation of the relevant provisions of the POCSO Act 2012 as done by the High Court for the purpose of holding that mere storage or possession of any child pornographic material does not amount to an offence, it poses a significant threat to the well-being of the children. On the other hand, the respondent contended that mere possession of the videos, it did not constitute an offence under Section 15, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act 2012, as the respondent never had any intention to share or transmit the same. These issues were raised before the Honorable Supreme Court. I'll be dealing with all these issues separately after having a discussion on the law point. Now let us discuss the law point first. Prior to the 2019 Amendment Act, Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012, originally enacted, it stipulated that any person who stores any pornographic material which involved a child for commercial purposes, it shall be punishable under the said provision. So, only the storage of child pornography for commercial purposes was made a punishable offence under Section 15 of the POCSO Act. Storage of such material for any other purpose was outside the scope and purview of Section 15. Section 15 of the POCSO Act of 2012 has undergone a significant change by virtue of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Amendment Act 2019, whereby two key changes were introduced, which are as follows. Firstly, Section 2 Clause DA was inserted, by which child pornography came to be defined, and amendment of Section 15, whereby now three distinct offences are made punishable under Section 15 of the POCSO Act. So, child pornography means any visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct involving a child which includes a photograph, video, digital or computer-generated image indistinguishable from an actual child and image created, adapted or modified but appear to depict a child. Now, after the amendment, Section 15 is divided into different subsections, that is subsection 1, subsection 2 and subsection 3. Now let us see subsection 1. Section 15 subsection 1 states that any person who stores or possesses pornographic material in any form which involves a child but fails to delete or destroy or report the same to the designated authority with an intention to share or transmit the child pornography shall be punishable. Section 15 subsection 2 reads as any person who stores or possesses pornographic material in any form involving a child for the purpose of transmitting or propagating or distributing in any manner except for the purpose of reporting as may be prescribed or for use as evidence in court shall be punishable under Section 15 subsection 2. Section 15 subsection 3 reads as any person who stores or possesses pornographic material in any form which involves a child for commercial purposes shall be punishable. Now let us discuss the issues which were raised before the Honorable Supreme Court. The very first issue is, what is the scope of Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012? That is to say, what is the underlying distinction between subsection 1, subsection 2 and subsection 3 of Section 15 of the POCSO Act respectively. So, Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012, it provides for three distinct offences that penalize either the storage or the possession of child pornographic material when it is done with the particular intention as which has been specified under subsection 1, subsection 2 or subsection 3 respectively. So, under Section 15 subsection 1, where a person either stores or possesses any child pornography and does not delete or report the same in order to share or transmit the same, then in that case, he shall be liable under Section 15, subsection 1 of the POCSO Act. So, this makes clear that no actual sharing or transmission is required to occur. Rather, what is required is that there is an intention to share or transmit the material, because of which the said material was neither deleted, destroyed or reported. So, therefore, Section 15 subsection 1 of the POCSO Act, it penalizes the failure to delete, destroy or report any child pornographic material that has been found to be stored or is in possession of any person who has an intention to share or transmit the same. Now let us see Section 15 subsection 2. So, Section 15 subsection 2 states that is, in order to constitute an offence under Section 15 subsection 2 of the POCSO Act, apart from the storage or possession of such pornographic material, there must be something more to show, that is, either the actual transmission, propagation, display or distribution of such material, or the facilitation of any transmission, propagation, display of such material, as such as any form of preparation or a setup done that would enable that person to transmit it or display it. Section 15 subsection 3 penalizes the storage or the possession of child pornographic material when it is done for any commercial purpose. So, in order to establish an offence under Section 15 subsection 3 of the POCSO Act, besides the storage or possession of the pornographic material which involved a child, there must be some additional material or attending circumstances that may sufficiently indicate that the said storage or possession was done with the intention to derive any gain or benefit, and there is no requirement to establish that such gain or benefit has been actually realized. So, we can conclude that subsections 1, 2 and 3 respectively of Section 15, they constitute an independent and distinct offences. These three offences cannot coexist simultaneously in the same set of facts. They are distinct from each other and they are not intertwined. Issue number 2. So, the issue number 2 was whether mere viewing, possessing or storage of any child pornographic material is punishable under the POCSO Act 2012. So, let us see how the Honorable Supreme Court has answered this issue. The Honorable Supreme Court held that any act of viewing, distributing, displaying of any child pornographic material by a person over the internet without any actual or physical possession or storage of such material in any device or in any form, or would also amount to possession in terms of Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012, provided the said person exercised an invariable degree of control over such material by virtue of doctrine of constructive possession. Now let us see issue number 3. which states what is the true scope of Section 67B of the IT Act. See, the Honorable Supreme Court has held that Section 67B of the IT Act is a comprehensive provision which has been designed to address and penalize various electronic forms of exploitation and abuse of children online. It not only punishes the electronic dissemination of child pornographic material, but also the creation, possession, propagation, and consumption of such material, as well as the different types of direct and indirect acts of online sexual denigration and exploitation of the vulnerable age of children. So Section 67, 67A and 67B of the IT Act, being a complete code in itself, ought to be interpreted in a purposive manner that suppresses the mischief and advances the remedy and ensures that the legislative intent of penalizing the various forms of cyber offences relating to children and the use of obscene pornographic material through electronic means is not defeated by a narrow construction of these provisions. Now let us see issue number 4, which states that what is the scope of Section 30 of the POCSO Act 2012? In other words, what are the foundational facts which are necessary for involving, or what are the foundational facts which are necessary for invoking the statutory presumption of culpable mental state in respect of Section 15 of the POCSO Act 2012? So, the statutory presumption of culpable mental state on the part of the accused as envisaged under Section 30 of the POCSO Act can be made applicable provided the prosecution is able to establish the foundational facts which are necessary to constitute a particular offence under the POCSO Act 2012 that may have been alleged against the accused. So, for the purpose of subsection 1, that is Section 15 subsection 1, the necessary foundational fact that the prosecution needs to establish is that firstly, it has to establish the storage or possession of child pornographic material and the person accused has failed to delete, destroy or report the same. In order to invoke the statutory presumption of culpable mental state for an offence under subsection 2, the prosecution is required to first establish the storage, possession of any child pornographic material and also any other fact which indicates either the actual transmission, propagation of any such material or in the form of an overt act such as preparation or setup done for any facilitation of the transmission, propagation, display, distribution of such material, whereafter it shall be presumed by the court that the said act was done with the intent of transmitting, displaying, propagating, distributing such material, and the said act had been done for the purpose of either reporting or for the purpose of being used as an evidence. For the purpose of subsection 3, the prosecution must establish the storage or the possession of such material and further prove any fact that might indicate that the same had been done to derive some form of benefit or gain or the expectation of some gain or some benefit. Issue number 5. Now let us see issue number 5. So, whether the statutory presumption contained in Section 30 of the POCSO Act can be invoked only at the stage of trial by the special court alone established under the POCSO Act. In other words, whether it is permissible for the Honorable High Court in a quashing petition filed under Section 482 of the CRPC to resort to the statutory presumption of culpable mental state as contained in Section 30 of the POCSO Act 2012. So the Honorable Supreme Court has held that the statutory presumption of culpable mental state under Section 30 of the POCSO Act, it can be made applicable in a quashing petition which is pertaining to any offence under the POCSO Act 2012. Certain suggestions were given to the Union of India and to the courts in this judgment. These are suggestions which are as follows. The Parliament should seriously consider to bring about an amendment to the POCSO Act 2012 for the purpose of substituting the term child pornography that with child sexual exploitative and abuse material with the view to reflect more accurately on the reality of such offences. The Union of India, in the meantime, may consider to bring about suggested amendment to the POCSO Act by way of an ordinance. Okay, now the term child pornography shall not be used in any judicial order or in any of the judgment, and instead the term child sexual exploitation and abuse material should be endorsed. Implementation of comprehensive sex education programs that include information about the legal and ethical ramifications of child pornography can help deter potential offenders. The Parliament should consider amending Section 15 subsection 1 of the POCSO Act so as to make it more convenient for the general public to report by way of an online portal any instance of storage or possession of child sexual exploitative and abusive material to the specific authorities for the purpose of said provision. I hope you have understood this judgment. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care.